So Ruth, with that, right? I know
Mhm.
Marcus, you speak to this a lot. You have to be equipped to be able to deal with that, right? Let's just say that your counterpart is dealing with their own struggles, or maybe they just are not familiar with people who have dealt with trauma. They might have came from a great home, but they just are completely unfamiliar with it, right? It's foreign to them. They don't know how to behave around it. They'll see people acting a certain way because it's work, right? There's certain things that is just going to derail your everyday life. Like when people have fears and they have trauma, that sometimes they have mood swings and there's different things. It has to be like you said, someone that was is willing to pour into you, but it also has to be somebody who understands how to pour into you. And I don't believe that all of us are equipped with that. I think it's actually a talent or a gift or whatever you want to refer to it as, but it's something that not all of us have, right? You, for one, you do have to absolutely care for that person because it's going to be extra work that you otherwise would not have to deal with, right? And it's disgusting that people do that to people, and it's also normalized in some cultures, and we don't even talk about that. There are, and I'm not saying ours, but there are some cultures where that is absolutely normalized and completely underreported, right? And you see it go on, and some of us are neighbors with some of those cultures, and you hear the thumps. I personally have witnessed it, and I'm like, damn, what was that? You know, and it is what it is. It happens to some people, and that's their life, and they don't get out of it, and they stay with that person, or married with that person, children with that person, or for whatever reason, maybe they don't have the means to leave or to leave. And it's horrible for people to deal with that. But if you make an escape, sometimes it's tough because they're not going to be normal, right? You're going to have to sometimes walk on tails. You're going to have an extra level of understanding to be able to deal with that person. But if you don't understand it, you've never witnessed it, you've never been around it, it's going to be very tough for you. So it isn't something that I would advise everyone to do. You have to naturally be a patient person and you have to be a knowledgeable person because you have to develop that skill set unless you are naturally gifted at dealing with people with trauma, which most of us aren't. So you have to be able to do that, and it's not for everyone. So if you feel like it's too much for you, then you probably shouldn't take that on, right? Because you just don't know how, and then you could then be in a toxic relationship with that person, not because it's any of your faults, but because it's just a bad matchup, because you aren't equipped to deal with that. And that person needs someone who knows how to deal with that. And hopefully,
I agree.
it sounds like she's doing well and has moved on from that situation, at least mentally, where she can function normal with somebody who absolutely appreciates her. And that's great. But not everyone is like that. There are some people who I've encountered who are very different because of it, right? Just like if you talk about people who are SA'd, it's absolutely going to affect your sex life, right? And some people just can't deal with that. That's one thing. Sometimes people might just be in a shell. They just might not talk for hours, right? They relive that situation. That's tough for people to deal with. You wonder why they're so removed or so distant, and you're like, damn, what did I do? And they won't tell you. Maybe they're not feel. Maybe they don't feel comfortable talking to you about it because of their lack of understanding. So they know you don't get it, but they really like certain attributes that you possess, but they're not all in. They don't have that trust because, or maybe they just don't want to relive it. Maybe they don't know how to talk about it. So that person has to come healed to a lot of people. If they don't come healed, then they have to have someone who's very special to be able to take on that responsibility.
And I think we're talking about two different people. I'm talking about the healed person. If you didn't do the work, then don't get in a relationship. You need to do, if somebody had, like I said, if you can heal and move forward and progress in life, you guys
We,
can still hear me?
we can hear you now.
Yeah,
All
what
right, sorry
happened?
about that. I was getting a call. Yeah, you could just keep, the person's like they passed it. You don't even see it. You wouldn't even know that they've been through that stuff. There are people that are healed that do the work on themselves. There are people that, recover. Just because something can happen to you doesn't mean you get stuck in that forever. So if somebody is displaying bad behavior, or they don't talk to me like that, or I can't have sex because I was this and that, they're using it as an excuse. That is not somebody you want to be with anyway, because they don't do the work on themselves. So now let's say you get into a marriage with that person and y'all have something happens they're never going to be able to recover because they couldn't recover from that before. But when you're dealing with somebody that has recovered from some stuff, you can see like how they handle those kind of situations. I'm not saying that's the best thing to recommend, but things happen. Like life really happens. And I know there's young men. There are a lot of men that I've spoken to that got molested when they were younger. So it's on both sides.
Okay.
We also had to acknowledge the fact that there's a lot of men who go through this situation too, right? Where women are the aggressors when it comes to DV, right? And it's embarrassing for men. So, of course, that's absolutely underreported because who are you going to tell? Like, first off, she's like, oh, well, you go ahead and say something. I'll just say you hit me. And that's one part of it. Or it's just embarrassing. Or you're supposed to be a man. How you let her do that to you? It's not something that you can't even confide with your homies about it because it's like, man, you pussy. What's wrong with you? Like, that's for real. Like, what you mean? Why you let her do that? Why did you let her do that? They'll laugh at you, joke at you. Like, it's fucked up how bad it is if you try to confide in people. It's so embarrassing that you don't even want to. And a professional would be great, but a lot of us ain't got the insurance for professionals. So who do you talk to about this as a man when this happens to you?
All right, Marcus, you want to add anything?
I think I get the question. Just jumping in because if I'm off topic, just let me know and redirect me.
It was just that she just responded back, so it was just Casey's the letter. Did you see it? Okay, you can
I can skim read it though real quick. Coming past first time. All right, Helen Journey. All right, got it.
Another sound effects.
No,
hey, you ain't read shit.
You want to ask me a question?
Marcus ain't no speed reader, yo.
Ask me a question.
I can't because I ain't even read it.
That photographic memory.
Oh my God.
What'd you say? What was the question?
Photographic memory.
I can't hear you.
He said he can't ask you no question because he didn't read it.
Oh, well, all right. So the answer is, or what I think about it is, I think Trev got my talking points because that's exactly what I was gonna say. You got to be in a position where you can deal with it because you got to be healed to the point where you control it in control of your triggers and cognizant of their triggers and patient enough to wade through them and navigate that situation without turning somebody off or on. A lot of times, especially when I was talking about like sexual assault, it manifests itself in like extremes. So you get somebody that's overly promiscuous, like they devalue sex as a woman to the point where, and I guess it's possible with a man too, I guess, where they devalue themselves to the point that they can, why you nodding your head, Ruth?
I thought you was on our side, but I just keep forgetting you're a man. You're going to just always be on this side. I guess it's possible for a man. Slightly, maybe 1%. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I
Ruth,
get
this
y'all
ain't no
point,
him or her side. It's a DV versus victim
We want
side.
to keep our one, okay? We try to keep them over here, but that's okay. Go ahead.
no, but so he says the pain is secure now. Hopefully it don't fall. I hope all that I ain't let the window up, so it's possible if the storm get to blowing. But yeah, it manifests itself in extremes. So it'll be the extreme promiscuous women. I seen a show the other day. I done caught the last 2 episodes of that show, The Never Have Mets. And in that show, what I found interesting was the women who had been through they had a test where they was trying to create intimacy through bondage, where you tie the person up with a rope, and then like you trust them to like lean you forward, lean you back, and do all these things. It's a simulation exercise of allowing somebody to have power and control over you. And all of the women who had been through a sexual assault experience, they needed to be in control of the man and tie him up. And that manifested itself in the relationships too, because those women were also aggressively dominant towards those men. And those men trying to work through the pain and help her heal were allowing themselves to be dominated. And it may not have been because they were soft. It may have been because they thought that was the best way to help her heal by being patient and kind of conceding and giving her like what they felt she needed in order for the relationship to move forward. But by doing that, they doom the relationship because now she lost respect for them because she had to dominate them. And it's a nuance in there where you would have to learn how to instill trust. So she felt comfortable giving you that power while still maintaining your dominance and not making it a force. So she feels like you're forcing her into it and driving her deeper into the hole. So it's a whole lot that goes on with those dynamics. And you got to be really attuned to pick up and notice all the small, minute things that might be really, really minor to you, but to that person, it's a super trigger, and they might not even be able to vocalize it to tell you. And now you're like, damn, she got an attitude out of nowhere. Well, really, she got an attitude because the grape soda reminded her, because that's what she was looking at when she was getting sexually assaulted. And now she's having a flashback, don't feel comfortable talking about it. And you're like, damn, what you so upset about? And it's a grape soda right there the whole time, and she's just sitting there staring at it. And you have no clue what the issue is. So it's a whole lot that go into that.